Oh, here's an alternate. You didn't win a match, but now you're in the finals. But yeah, I like Bellator. They're on Spike TV, and definitely something to watch. That's not UFC if you want to be like the Bandit organization or go against the grain.
The alt MMA, the alt UFC, I should say.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's keep it moving. That's it for Real On Wrestling?
That's it.
All right, well, let's jump into this LiAngelo Ball situation. And you guys, you might not have noticed, but we didn't do a what the fuck moment of the week earlier in the show. This is because I was saving it for this particular situation with LiAngelo Ball, little brother of Lonzo Ball, all part of the big baller brand family.
Freshman at UCLA, right?
Yes, freshman at UCLA. And, you know, that is a very important thing to keep in mind. So, WTF moment of the week. LiAngelo Ball and his steals. UCLA was in, what, Shanghai?
Yeah.
Not too far from Shanghai, a little east of Shanghai, over in China, for a basketball game. They were kicking off their basketball season. I can't remember who they were playing.
I want to say Georgia.
Okay. But, yeah, so they were overseas, dare I say it, in a communist country.
Well, technically true.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome to the Sunset Show Radio Show. I'm your host, Love John. I have a co-host with me, here with me, Miss Lisha G.
Hey.
And our guest, Mr. Maurice Good.
Hey, folks.
He was here with us on last week, but he enjoyed it so much he just wanted to come back. So,
Always.
can you move over this way a little bit so the camera can get your face?
Yes,
so people can see you.
Hey, I got warrants. What you doing?
Oh my goodness! Go back. I hope everybody has had an awesome day today. First of all, let's get into how awesome it felt outside today.
Oh my gosh! So you still don't have no sleeves, right?
Yeah, I see. It was amazing. My sister had something for me, and I was like, "Well, leave it in the car. You know, it's been cold for the past 2 years now." I'm a little skeptical because it's been in the trunk, but it felt so good out today. This is what I call that walking weather. You know, you can just take a stroll. Listen, for those who are tuned in and those who are tuning in at the moment, could you do us an awesome favor and share this? Share, and share again, so that others can take part in this conversation. This week, we are talking about what I'm quite sure you're seeing over and over again in the news: sexual harassment. And you know, at first I was like, I ain't really want to touch. This is when it first started a couple weeks ago. Right. I'm like, do I do or not? Because you know, Sunset Soul is famous for talking about what's in the media, but I didn't know if I wanted to touch it. Right. You know, I really didn't, because it's kind of like you kind of kept hearing the same story, but a different victim in a different accusation over and over and over again. So, but now it's becoming such a thing. It's not 1 and 2 and 3 women. You're talking about one of these cases, over 300 women as of now have called and said similar stories. Wow. So I was like, okay, maybe we might need to address that. But before we go into the topic at hand, sexual harassment, I wanted to recap. Last week, we had a show and we was talking about America's addiction to violence. And we basically got into what we could possibly do, what we thought was the culprit, especially here in Baltimore, Maryland. So many different things. But no sooner, was it a week? Yesterday, right, we had a detective here. I'm sure y'all have seen it on the news now. Detective Suter, Sean Suter, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. Yes. Was shot in the head. I believe it was West Baltimore. Yeah. And as of now, they said that he has come to his injuries. He passed away. There was speculations that he had passed yesterday. My thing is, I don't really understand. It doesn't. One, yesterday versus today ain't no worse than the other. I'm not quite sure why they would withhold the information. Maybe the family just wasn't ready, and they have a right to say, we don't want to discuss it. We don't want it announced. That, you know, they want you to focus on finding the person, then to put focus on if he lived or died. Because that's the first question everybody asks. Well, did he die? What that, like, he's shot, and had he would have lived, the likelihood of him having a normal life, at least right away, was slim to none. Yeah. So he did pass, and our hearts and prayers to his family. And I saw today, and I didn't make a comment, I actually saw this on several pages, where people are feeling some kind of way about the manpower and energy put into trying to find this man's killer. And let me tell you why I didn't comment. Because I understand the pain of the people here in Baltimore, because we are people here in Baltimore. And you look at the fact that we just had a whole 2-hour show last week about Baltimore being over, is it 300 versus 301? Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that at all, but you know what I'm going to get ready to say. That was the question, on last week. So, okay, you were right last week, but then you're wrong this week. At the end of the day, the man is gone. And people are saying, well, why isn't this much energy or concern for the other 300 deaths? And why is it that you have police officers, that people are taking pictures? Right there on Fulton Avenue, a friend of mine, the police went into the house and his partner was outside. They bodied armored up, like big old, I call them sawed-off shotguns. I don't know if that's what it is. I just don't know what else to call them, but they big guns. And they standing outside of the house, like posted up, like I wish nigga would, come to. Why now,
Well, let's be honest. When something happened to your kids, your reaction, or your sisters, or whoever, your reaction is different than if it's somebody else. You might care and, be really hurt and want to help if it's outside of your circle. But when it's a part of your circle, it impacts you differently. So, I mean, I know it looks bad, and we, outsiders, it looks bad to us, but they look at each other like brothers and sisters. So you gonna come harder for your people, just like anybody else.
But is that the only police officer? That's not the only police officer that has gotten shot or killed. I'm not understanding why.
Like
I know he's a detective.
Like that.
Maybe
That's
not
not like they assassinated him.
Right.
That's basically what happened. He was assassinated. He was on duty investigating another homicide. He's a homicide detective.
Okay.
And so he was in that community investigating a homicide that had already taken place. And he was shot in the head. And so, because I heard a comment earlier today while I was at work by a woman who, I guess, she was just upset based on her circumstances already. And so then she was like, I don't know, what, $64,000 and, and yet they don't have rec centers. And right then and there, I knew, like, let me remove myself from this conversation, because, like, I think people are carrying so much pain that they're not necessarily rational when they're spewing their pain, their frustration, that comes from their pain, and it comes across as anger. And so I think that a lot of folks are in pain and they are enraged because, like you said, they've lost family members, they've lost community members, and they feel like nothing has been done. There's still unsolved, cases. And so how is it? But as a community, we have to say that this man was doing his job.
Absolutely.
And so for him to not be able to go home to his 4 children because he was doing his job, like, that's horrible. It's truly horrible. And we, as a community, we have to rally around all of our community stakeholders, those in blue and everybody else, and so this isn't a time to be angry and divisive. This is a time for us to unite and come together.
And the fact that you can, because at the end of the day, he's a human being.
Absolutely.
And he did have and he has a family, and they are hurting. And the fact that you're hurting, then you can understand, the reason for, you can empathize. What I don't understand is how we have become so, well, like we were saying, desensitized, that you can even say, I'm looking at some of the stuff, and literally I'm hearing people saying, like, I'm not offering no prayers or to the family, and what's the difference? I don't understand how you can be so cold and cavalier. Like, I can understand your anger for why they're putting this energy into finding this man's killer versus the other 300. I can get that,
but who's to say that they aren't? See, that's the problem.
Exactly.
See, that's what frustrates me, is because just because you don't see physically, and
the
actually,
fact that the man was doing it, right?
There
He
you go.
was out there.
There you go. He was doing his job to solve one of those unsolved murders, and he was murdered. He was assassinated in the process of doing his job, which people say that the police department aren't doing or isn't doing, but yet he was doing his job and was assassinated. So,
and saying something like that isn't going to make anybody want to do any more. After the Freddie Gray situation, I actually, because there was so much anger and hurt and rage directed towards the police, in my opinion, I did see the police kind of fall back a lot after those, things. And it's kind of like, can you really get upset? We're targeting them, and then you need to call them at the same time. It's it's kind of like, how do you expect them to want to be there for you when they're not safe in this very community?
Absolutely.
At any point in time, this can happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
So I just didn't understand. I wanted to at first, make mention of him, and like I said, offer our hearts and prayers to the family, and for those who had just happened to not seen it on the news, and so make mention of it. But then also, shine light on. I didn't know that he was actively investigating a murder. Obviously one of the 300 here, and he lost his life doing that, and to be put in a box of one of the bad ones, because we do got some bad officers here, but to put him in that, lump him in that, just because, and you have no reason to say, I'm not going to offer up for, why should I care?
Even if he was one of the bad ones, nobody deserves to be killed that way, would be killed at all. It's just horrible. We're just losing all sense of compassion in this world, and it's tragic.
Yeah,
it's tragic.
But we're, I'm a firm believer in the leadership, and it trickles down. We're under some kind of
the Bible already spoke of this, but we're not gonna go.
Nope, we're not gonna do that. So I'm gonna stick with the leadership. But tonight's topic is about sexual harassment, and to my knowledge, this started with the Harvey Weinstein accusation with, I think it was Nikita.
It started with Bill Cosby.
Well, it did. You know what? And that's you notice that nobody is making mention of that in the media. Nobody is making mention of the fact that they put Bill Cosby through the ringer. You're hearing it currently, yes. You're hearing us, other black people, or maybe comedians and so forth, saying something. But I'm saying it to say, for the amount of news he made, and it by the stories being so similar, why aren't you notice that they're not saying much, about him. But this whole thing recently started, if I'm not mistaken, with Harvey Weinstein. As a matter of fact, even when I did research, it says since Harvey Weinstein's accusation, these many people have now been pulled, out of it. And I know they kind of like, we ain't had nothing to do with that, But since now it's tagged you it, basically. And there is a plethora of accusations out there now, and it don't seem like it's stopping anytime soon. And the one word you keep hearing is entitlement and men of power abusing authority.
So before we go there, can I just give the human resources, or now human resources now has been repackaged as human capital, right? So can I just give that definition of sexual?
Do you want to do that, or because we want a commercial break. Go
Okay,
ahead. You
so
want to do it when we come back, or you want to do it
I'll
now?
do it when we come back.
Okay. So listen, because we still have people who are tuning in, and we're about to go to commercial break. If you're watching right now, could you share this so that others can take part in the conversation? And when we come back, you can feel free to give us a call at 410-702-5657 if you want to add to the conversation, or maybe you have had a situation, a sexual harassment situation at a workplace, or other that you want to talk about. You can call us up and we can discuss that. Also, those who are watching, if you have any sort of business and you would like to have Sunset Soul shout your business out, we're looking for sponsors. You are more than welcome to hit us up on the page, or give us a call, or give me a call, or inbox on Facebook. You can just go onto my page, Lakeisha Love Dawn Askins, and it's very, very, very inexpensive. We can talk details when you inbox, and we have options. You can either put your ad online, and you'll see it as you're watching the show now. You'll see different pictures come up. You can put an ad online. You can also have a shout out on the web page, or Sunset Soul can shout your business out while we're here live on the show, and it constantly is played throughout the month. So inbox if this is something that you feel interested in, and we will be right back.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out this flashback from Talk Lately with Monty only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. What's going on with you?
All is well. I was just talking, I heard you talking about the climate and everything. So what do you think is like signs of the time?
Yeah, it could be.
No, it's not signs. I don't believe God is a woman. She ain't coming back no time soon. She's taking her time.
I like your thinking. She's a woman.
Say it again?
I said I like your thinking. She's a woman. She's smart.
Yeah, she's a woman. Women want to take their time. The thing is, you shouldn't be ready for God to come back. You should just get yourself ready, period.
True. Be prepared.
Always.
I got to make sure I go buy a boat this weekend then, because these floods ain't no joke.
Buy a boat.
Yeah.
It ain't going to flood the city. If it do flood the city, maybe it wash away some of this crime.
But look, I live in Federal Hill. I live right next to the water. I'm next.
Okay, well that's fine. That's fine. You be next. You buy your boat. Federal Hill need to go down anyway.
Oh my God.
Bunch of trailer trash down. It's been down there for years. I don't understand why black people would move to Federal Hill. That's where they was hanging people at.
Cause it's better. What?
Hello?
Yeah, I gotta go to break. I thank you for your call though.
Don't thank me. Thank them white people you live next door to.
I will, as soon as I get home, to make sure she swept up front, because I'm on it.
Perfect. You better hope they ain't got no damn rope in their backyard, because they hanging us.
Oh, gosh. In Federal Hill? We don't have no trees.
They're going to hang you from the porch. There ain't got to be no trees.
A porch? All right. Thank you. Damn, they hanging us. We'll be right back.
All this and much more every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Talk Lately with Monty. Only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
Are you getting your kids this hoverboard thing that's taking over the country? They range from $300 to $600. They're blowing up. And then I mean literally blowing up. That one video, I thought that was going to be the one and only video that I saw in reference to it, and it wasn't. Now I could probably tell you about 10 to 15 videos of this happening, where this battery gets super, super hot and burns like holes into your tennis shoes.
Oh my.
And I know you would be pissed if you was wearing Jordans and you just paid all that money, your lights are off. And
especially if they're from China.
Your lights off. Check out the Talk Lately show every Tuesday nights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on Be Exposed
Check out this
Radio.
flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child, we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up. Me, I'm 6'7", so I'm a bigger man. I was always taught how to not be threatening or intimidate people when I go into different interviews or different scenarios. And so we're literally taught how to condition ourselves, condition our speech, everything, in order to go and beg these people for a job, because we know when we walk in the door, I have to tear down 10 stereotypes before I get past hello. So we need to eliminate that. You know, and we need to eliminate that, and the way that we do that is employing ourselves and employing our brothers and sisters. And so that's our mission, is group economics, uplift ourselves, because I can't empower anyone until I empower myself, and change from just being willing, because it's in my heart and my passion to see my people succeed and see us do better and change the social order, because I know that we are not supposed to be on bottom. I understand who I was. I know I didn't fall out of the sky and land on a plantation. So when you have knowledge of self and you know who you are and what you come from, it's frustrating more than anything to see us in this position.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. live. Be Exposed Radio.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
And you have to do some self-care, right? Because you begin to break yourself down worrying about how people will be or how people are treating you, and you see them damaging your life, but something in you just wants to be patient with them. But you have to learn how to let people go. Everybody is not meant to be there for a lifetime, right? And you have to learn your lesson and move on sometimes.
Some people are there just for a season, you know. And it's like you have people in your life that are roots, you have people in your life that are branches, and you have people in your life that are leaves. Right. You know, you got the people that's there, like the leaves, they gonna be there, hey, I'm just here, you know what I'm saying? Something
as soon as the wind blows,
snap, let me get out of here, oh, I'm gone. Yeah. And then you got that one branch, like, you know, I'm gonna fight with you for a second. Oh, snap, the wind too strong, she broke off. But you got that one, you got those roots there, you know, those are your elders, the one that's actually there showing you the way, you know, that's actually taking their time, and it's just helping you, like, get molded. And once that wind comes, you know what I'm saying, you can sway left, you can sway far right, but no matter what, the roots are still going to be there to hold you strong. Like, you know what, I got you. You know, we're gonna make it through this. You know, we can do this together. We're a stronghold. So, you know, don't let nothing break that. You know what I'm saying?
And part of the discussion that I had today, and
you are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We were getting ready to. Actually, Maurice was getting ready to say that we were talking about sexual harassment, and he was going to give the definition, the human resource definition.
Absolutely. So the human resources definition of sexual harassment: any unwelcome sexual advances or conduct sexual in nature that unreasonably interferes with a person's job or work performance constitutes as sexual harassment. If the advances are causing the environment to seem intimidating, hostile, or uncomfortable because of the behavior, it's harassment. This includes unwelcome touching, such as pinching, rubbing, brushing up against sexual areas of the body, flirting, such as blowing kisses, dirty or lewd jokes, inappropriate images or video, sexually suggestive text messages, emails, sexual gestures, staring too long, especially at sexual body parts, whistling, or even making jokes about someone's sexual orientation. If the receiver feels uncomfortable by it, he or she could claim sexual harassment.
So, just basically go to work,
do your
work,
and go home.
And go on, exactly. Don't say nothing to nobody. Don't look at nobody. Don't look at them for too long. If you ask a question, put your head down. So basically, how black people was treated when we was back in the
the thing about sexual harassment is it's all about perception.
Right.
Yeah.
I may not have meant anything by what I said, but if you perceived that it was a sexual advance, then you can get me for sexual harassment. Now, it's very hard to prove.
Now,
but once you file an argument,
it's in
the file.
What? Okay, so I talked to you the other day about my son. My son, the police called my son's father and said that the parents came to the school and went to press charges against my son. My son is 11 years old. They went to press charges against him for sexual harassment. The police told the parents, I can't do that for a isolated incident. He has to have done it more than one time. You have to give him an opportunity to straighten it up, you know, give him a warning. But if he does it again, you know, you can go for him to press charges. So you and I both think, I know my son, and I know some of the stuff that my son can say and do. So you as well as I want to know, well, what, you know, what did he say? That was so graphic that she wanted to press charges. Well, I come to find out, this is through a third party, told the girl that he said he wants to have babies with her. Now,
but that's sexual harassment.
Let me be very clear. I'm probably not the parent. I'm different. I'm gonna say that because I'm like, okay, I don't get it. Like, I mean, no, I'm not saying it was something that he should have said.
But arrest him?
But you mean to tell me that you want to press charges against my son because he said, now if he would have got into the whole how to have babies or what we supposed to do so we can have, and even then, you're dealing with kids, you know, hormones and exploring or whatever. I can't jump right into the whole sexual harassment, but that's her right. You know, that's her perception.
But it probably wasn't her perception. It was probably her parents' perception when she came home and told her parents what he said.
Well, I mean, the sense is still, the boy said he want to have babies with me. I mean, unless she lied, you know, it's still, I don't know how, but they were very upset, and that's their child, and they have every right to feel how they feel. For me, I thought that was the bitch, and I think that the police officer might have felt the same way, because you want me to arrest this 11-year-old boy for saying he wants to have babies with you. He didn't say, come on, let's go into the closet and let's go make some babies. You know, there was no advances. There was no assault because there was no physical action taking place, you know. But it made her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, based on your definition, because school is their place of work. You know? So, based on your definition, she felt some kind of way. Which is crazy because my son didn't say it to her.
Third party.
The third party said to her that my son said XYZ.
There's third party harassment.
Yeah. And see, and that's the climate that we live in right now. We live in such a politically correct climate that you can't sneeze a certain way without someone taking offense, right? He sneezed too loud. He sneezed and it got on me. Or, you know, he sneezed and I felt, you know, harassed. I felt intimidated. You know, that's the climate that we in. And we're living in a super hyper climate. Now, with that said, I don't want to take away from those legitimate cases of harassment.
Right. And there are a lot. My question, though, is why so many now? What is good? This is what we're putting on the floor before we go, because we're going to the second commercial break. Those of you who are watching, could you share this so that others can take part in the conversation? I appreciate you all tuning in. If you want to talk, you can call us at 410-702-5657 when we come back from commercial break. But the question on the floor is why so many and why now is it this huge epidemic of sexual harassment going around? If that's the proper word to use. We'll be right back. I'm not sure.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
It is what it is. Radio show.
Go ahead. All right, listen. All right, say situation. Cause I keep telling y'all, it's different situations in the child support thing. You can't just pinpoint one thing. You can't just say, "Oh, he a deadbeat. That's why you're on child support." Oh, he
No,
this.
I don't
That's
feel
why you're on
like
child support. Oh, she this. That's why she on child support. No, sometimes it could just go off of. Oh, I just called him and asked him, can he pay for the pictures? He ain't want to pay for the pictures. I'm taking his ass downtown. Yup.
Well, you got to know. Know who you dating.
Hold up.
You
hold
just
up.
like
I just
bitter
called
Betty.
her. I just called her and asked could she just get Junior some shoes. She couldn't even get him no church shoes. I'm taking her ass downtown. Now, when you go downtown, you go down there and you get $500.
Right.
Now you mad because you getting $500, and now you really ain't getting no shoes for Junior or Lord CC because you getting $500 now.
Right.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, if you're a good father or a good mother, and you paying child support, right? You still gonna go ahead and do all that because
hold up.
It's just what it is.
Hold on, and that's another situation.
Right.
But you know what that creates? Now when we at the party, mommy and daddy ain't even down there speaking to each other. Cause daddy done paid for the party and he done came out of pocket this month with $600.
Right, that's your child.
Be mad.
Listen. He shouldn't be mad, but he also has another child with his wife.
That's on him.
Okay,
go ahead.
He got another child with his wife.
Okay.
Right. And you're
with
taking
his wife
and you're taking away from them.
And they taking away
and you're taking away from
Well, he should have kept it in his pants.
Exactly.
Should have kept it in his pants. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. Stop complaining.
You on some whole, he on some whole other shit over here. He on some whole other shit. I'm gonna tell you.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Said it with a little twang.
Let me tell you.
I'm sorry, I don't want
You don't know what to say now. I'm so scared because I'm a flirt. So I don't know what to say. I don't got time
Flirting.
to How you doing?
That might be your workplace environment.
What if I do this? How you doing? But my eyes is closed.
I'm a third party, and I was highly offended by that action.
Oh my goodness.
How do you not do that?
Well, the question on the floor was why so many and why now? Now I think once they saw the numbers that they're trying to get some sort of class action suit. Can you do that? Is that what this is about?
Well, it's different people.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's different people.
No, but like it's when a whole bunch of different people are talking about one person, they want to get in on the settlement.
You don't want a class action suit though, because normally with class action suits, your return is smaller. We have an individual suit, so it's not that.
Okay. Well, see.
I think, honestly, I think that's, and I've been saying this over and over, that social media is a game changer, right? Social media has changed the game of how we live. And so I think that people feel encouraged and feel empowered to share, their traumatic experience as a result having that social media presence. So I can share on social media, and then it's like, saying things for likes, right? And so you get this reinforcement from the social media, right? From your audience, from your friends, they're liking and they're supporting you, and so now you encourage to say, yeah, this person sexually harassed me, this person groped me, this person molested me, this person sexually assaulted me. A lot of these people are coming. If you notice, there's a trend. They're tweeting, right? A lot of people have said that I was groped, I was sexually harassed, I was sexually assaulted, I was molested, my friend was raped, but they're tweeting it. So I think social media has
So it's not about lawsuits, it's about just the platform, having a platform available right now.
I think,
and I guess it's easy because everybody is open. Kaya just said, Kaya Griffin, they say, I think it's a snowball effect. When people see others come forward with their stories, it gives them the courage to also come forward with their own.
I agree with Kaya. In part, it's actually psychological though. We as individuals have this sense or need to conform to what we see become popular. So there was and it's kind of off topic, but I saw this study where This guy walks into the elevator, and everybody in the elevator, as soon as the door closes, they turn their back to the door. And the guy's standing there like, okay, this is weird. And gradually he turns to face the wall like everybody else. 4 out of 5 people did the same thing.
Wow.
4 out of 5 people turned their backs because the need to conform. So typically when we see stuff happen like that, our mind always goes back to see if I can relate to what everybody else is going
Me too.
And when I heard it, my first story was, I remember when I got sexually harassed at work. And when you see stuff like that, you always internalize that process.
Right.
But like you said, with the media availability and with the new opening for with all these different people coming out, it does make it easier for people to open up their mouths. But even those that weren't necessarily sexually harassed, they that had contact with them will start to now look at stuff like, I wonder
if that was sexual harassment. And that's the thing that gets me. Rachel just said that her son was at school, and she had to go up there because a little girl fell on the floor, and he tried to help her off the floor, or give her a hug, and that wasn't allowed because that could be considered sexual harassment because you don't know. Now, it is the child, like I said about my son, is the child saying, I felt uncomfortable when this boy hugged me, or is the parent saying, who's this little boy that's hugging on my child?
Well, what about Kevin Hart, when he told the story about his son having his first quote-unquote gay experience, when he said they was playing, and he looked down, all he heard was brr, brr, and the boy was kind of riding on his son. He knocked them both down. It wasn't anything sexually going on, but Kevin's mind was
that it was. But he's not trying to file charges against the little boy though, and that's the thing that I have a problem with. My issue is, okay, so Maurice in the clip, and the clip was Shapiro. What was his last name?
Yeah, Ben Shapiro. He does a podcast.
Yes, and there was a picture of Ellen. And Ellen, she was in the picture with her wife as well. Her wife was on the opposite side of her. And Katy Perry had a birthday. Okay. And she had a low cut blouse similar to mine, but she, hers was a little sitting. And Ellen's face was in her boobs. Okay. And the caption on the picture said, "Happy birthday, Katy Perry. It's time to bring out the big balloons." So she caught some flack with that. And Shapiro used that because why is it that if a woman makes this type of advance, that's looked at one way, though Ellen has identified as being a lesbian, and so
she's married.
It should not. And her wife was in the picture, and her wife was laughing. Right. So nobody. Now they said Katy Perry was supposed to look like she was uncomfortable in the picture. I saw the picture. She didn't look uncomfortable at all. And I'm quite sure Ellen wouldn't have put it up if she made mention that she felt some kind of way about it.
See, but there you go again. It goes back to, we live in such a politically correct climate that people are so sensitive, and so the slightest little thing offends folks, right? And so Katie, and I'm not saying, because I don't know Katie, but Katie may not have been, she didn't feel one way or the other. It was all in fun, right? But yet somebody saw that and they took offense to it. And then what they do is they tweet something and then they share it, and then it blows up to this major thing, right? Because all you got to do is share it enough, and now it becomes a trending topic.
Right. Well, the only reason though that particular issue became a topic is because it's a current trend.
Right.
There's a defining line there when it comes to sexual harassment when you're talking about comedians, because comedians now can joke about anything for fun because that's their job.
Not anymore.
Well, they pretty much.
No, I mean, I've heard some where comedians have made some statements, and and people called them to task about it. It's like, listen, that's not funny.
Well, is it? But they still get a pass because it's in fun. And a lot of comedians take the stance that everything is on the table when it comes to comedy. So the difference comes into play when is it on stage or if it's off stage. Mm-hmm. Are we in character or are we out of character? Like Louis C.K. Mm-hmm. He sexually harassed, I think it was 5 women.
Yeah, he masturbated in front of them.
Yeah, 5 women. But see, the difference is why is that just harassment and not assault?
Because it wasn't physical. It wasn't a physical touch.
It becomes assault.
Assault is unwanted sexual contact that stops short of rape or attempted rape. This includes sexual touching or fondling of the other person out, and you put your hands on them. Okay. So assault is what you would get if you did not follow through with rape, but you were physically in lieu to raping the person, I'm assuming.
Not you have to be with the intent to rape. I think it's just
I'm just saying, it say that stops short of rape or attempted rape.
So I just assume that if you are masturbating, anything could have come from that point. So, but the assault comes into play if you touch my person.
Right. Well, this is what Google says.
Okay. Well, there we go. Got the prophet Google has spoken.
This is just Google.
So, with that said, right? So I posed this question in a social media group. How can men protect themselves against sexual harassment charges? And here are some of the responses that I got. And all of these are women. I captured all of the women. So keep your hands to yourself. A lot of women said that. If you wouldn't say it to your daughter, mom, sister, aunt, don't say it to your coworker. Keep your comments to yourself. Don't go there if you know she's not interested. And I want to revisit that one because no means no. Taste your words before you say them. Don't be a slime. Shut your mouth and do your job. Don't touch, don't look, don't speak. Save the locker room talk for your boys and don't do it at work. Sexist jokes too. Keep yourselves visible by others at all times and stay out in the open. No private conferences without a witness. So these are some of the comments that women have said that men can do as a way to keep themselves safe and not being brought up on sexual harassment charges. But that one, don't go there if you know she's not interested, right? To me, that's right. Exactly. That's subjective.
How do you say? I mean, you got to go backwards with your eyes closed and be like, I just wanted to ask you, is it okay if I ask you this question? If you feel
first of all, though, most places of employment have a no fraternization policy in play. You're not even supposed to date.
Most people do not
workers. So
honor that at all.
When you're considering the fact that it's not good practice to have personal relationships with your coworkers in that regard, then there should be no quote unquote interest conversation in play.
Let me say this. So the elephant in the room to sexual harassment in terms of how human resources. When you're in a relationship with someone at work and it doesn't work out, if you continue to pursue that person, they can claim sexual harassment. So that's part of their policy.
Yeah, because they realize that everybody's not going to keep to a no fraternization policy.
So you dating someone, y'all break up, but you go back like, I'm sorry for what I did, I still want to be with you. Now that's sexual harassment.
They can make the claim sexual harassment.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, it's unfair though. I mean, it's not unfair, but it's to me. It's unfair because they can say certain things to you if you're interested, but they can't say certain things to you if you're not interested.
Well, it's because it's a matter of perspective. So if I have a thing for tall, dark with beards, and he says something about, "Oh, you really look cute today," and I'm like, but here come little short, light skinned, chubby guy, and he's like, "Oh, you look good today." I'm like, "Ugh, that's sexual harassment." The same statement,
right?
It's a matter of my personal perception because I'm the one harassed. What you say to him may be fine, But if you say it to me, I feel some kind of way.
And that's what Shapiro was saying. He was saying we need clear-cut guidelines because to protect men and women, but men seem to be the focus point right now. Right. It's unfair and it's unclear because now it's depending on the tone of which I'm saying it to you. If we were dating or you were interested in me and I say, "Oh, you look nice," it's okay. But then you're not interested, or we break up and you walk past and I say, "Oh, you look nice," you can now say that I'm sexual harassing you.
Here's the problem, though. The problem is that there's no precursor to a claim. Like, there's nothing that you have to do before you go to HR and file a claim. What should have to happen is, you say something that offends me, I should have to say, I don't like that, stop. Or don't talk to me that way. So at least you know what your boundaries are. We don't put out there to people what the boundaries are.
That's what I'm saying about clear-cut signs. Like, is there...
Normally if you go to HR, normally
like with rape, you have to say no.
No, you don't.
You don't have to say no with rape?
No.
I thought that was the question.
You don't. No, you have to. They have to know that there's a yes. You don't have to say no. It's not a. You have to say no.
Let me get this straight because I'm confused.
Rape is,
so before we, I'm
Too.
confused. You're telling me that we're being intimate or about to be intimate. I don't have to say no. I don't have to say anything, or we have sex, and then I can say you raped me, and I didn't say no, and that's okay.
Well, at one time, it was promoted that you had to say no, but then with a lot on college campuses with date rape, right? And so women were saying that they were under the influence, right? And so because they were under the influence, they didn't necessarily say no. Right, and doesn't mean that it still wasn't rape because they didn't say no, but they weren't in their sane mind.
Well, then they actually consent.
Right,
and there's a lot of girls that some girls just won't. I'm not gonna say no because I'm scared.
Right.
But I'm not giving you permission to go there. So it actually with sex, you really should get a. Is this okay? Yes.
Right.
Before
and
you
that's what sexual harassment, all of it, to protect yourself. Right. You need to have a conversation.
But that's what I mean. In most cases with sexual harassment on the workplace, you won't get terminated for a first offense. There'll be some kind of meeting of the two, a mediation. But they won't terminate you for a first offense normally if there's just her word against mine.
Well, it was like that. But again, we live in this climate that is hypersensitive, and companies do not want to take the backlash, right? Because let me tell you something. Women spend a lot of money. Women spend a lot of money, and no company wants to lose that revenue. So before I lose that revenue, I'm gonna get rid of him. He gone.
Well, because we're gonna go to this commercial break. There's a lot, even with the list that we're going to go down a little bit later, of the guys in the industry that are being accused of these crimes or whatever you want to call it. They're leaving, they're quitting, they're apologizing and getting fired right off the bat. Exactly. You know, there is no middle ground for them. But y'all stay tuned. We're going to go to this commercial break. We'll be right back. You can call us when we come back from commercial break, 410-702-5657. And could you please share so others can take part in the conversation? And we will be right back.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with, some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also, accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. Like, I've learned I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what I learned. That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
The pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids and when you got a wife and then you doing everything and you know you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place you like with this radio show. You ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Yeah, make that a promo, please.
Should nobody come on this show without donating?
That is a nice commercial.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show.
Focus on the word take for a moment.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I mean, when I begin to just, think about take. Mm-hmm. When you taking something, yes, we think about the possession and grabbing hold, but when you taking something on, you're capturing it, you're securing it, and you become impregnated with that.
Wow.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child, we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up. Me, I'm 6'7", so I'm a bigger man. I was always taught how to not be threatening or intimidate people when I go into different interviews or different scenarios. And so we're literally taught how to condition ourselves, condition our speech, everything, in order to go and beg these people for a job, because we know when we walk in the door, I have to tear down 10 stereotypes before I get past hello. So we need to eliminate that. And we need to eliminate that, and the way that we do that is employing ourselves and employing our brothers and sisters. And so that's our mission, is group economics, uplift ourselves, because I can't empower anyone until I empower myself, and change from just being willing, because it's in my heart and my passion to see my people succeed and see us do better and change the social order, because I know that we are not supposed to be on bottom. I understand who I was. I know I didn't fall out of the sky and land on a plantation. So when you have knowledge of self and you know who you are and what you come from, it's frustrating more than anything to see us in this position.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Saturday 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back. We left off at, but we were talking about harassment. That's what we do know. I think it was it CK? That's what we were talking about in the commercial break.
Right. One of many.
Right, one of many. But what you said something earlier before we went to the commercial break about comedians, and I wanted to get into our former president, George Bush.
Herbert Walker.
Senior. Herbert Walker Bush. It's not Walker. Senior.
It's George Walker Bush, which is the junior, but they don't necessarily use senior, junior, and then you have George Herbert Walker. That's the elder. Okay. So George Herbert Walker Bush is the elder, and then George Walker. W. Right.
Got it. Him.
So it's 41 and 44. That's how you do it.
Former president, 93 years old. Heather Lynn and Jordana Grolnick, might be saying their name wrong, both accused former President Herbert Walker Bush of sexual harassment. Now, they're the two who spoke up, but this has been a thing that he does, supposedly. He has been known to place his hands on a woman's bottom and then tell a dirty joke. The joke is, do you want to know who my favorite magician is? David Copperfield. And he would squeeze.
I'm sorry, this is funny.
He would squeeze their rear end.
Look, I'm sorry.
With the joke. Now
I'm offended by your laughing. I'm offended by your laughing.
I'm not laughing because it was funny that he did that, but that was a funny joke.
I think it's funny that he did it. I'm be honest, but it's different for me because by me being in that line of work, I've seen so many things when it comes down to elderly people that it's really hard to offend me for them because I've seen it all.
Right.
And they live in a whole nother world than what we do. It's like they say things like the thing, my thing is the girl. When they say, "Where's your girl at?" That gets on my nerves. But I understand their mindset, different from ours. But he also apologized. Former President Bush, he says in his defense, because of his health and being in the wheelchair.
Oh, get out of here!
Listen, he said because of his health and being in the wheelchair, his arm falls to the side.
I knew it was coming.
And when taking pictures, he tells the joke to make people feel at ease with the fact that his arm is hanging down there, and he does sometimes pat women on the rear end, but in a good-natured manner.
In a good nature, like
old buddy, old pal.
Yeah, like a baseball player.
Well, and I've read that particular story as well. And so one of the young ladies who first spoke out, she says she met him when he was in his 70s, right? But she didn't feel. She said she was 16, and so like for her, the fact that he did this to a 16-year-old child. And the child was with her mother, right? So they both took a picture. I'm the former president. You here, you're here, and I touched the rear end. I squeezed the rear end of this 16-year-old child who happens to be with her mom on the other side of me. So for the woman who was the 16-year-old, she's like, I was a child. So that's her whole position. It's like, he did this to a child.
Wow. Now that I didn't know. Didn't nobody make mention of that. But I brought that up to ask because he used humor.
No, he's not a comedian.
He's not a comedian, but I'm saying he used humor. That was his rationalizing for what he did. Also because of his age. But that is on the table. This 93-year-old man, I just said, he lives in another time, another world than what we do. These things play a part. You said that harassment is subjective. These things play a part in you making a decision of should I get mad? Because that same thing could have been done if Maurice patted you on your behind and said that. Might be offensive, might not. I'm just saying. Where a 93-year-old man, you might just scoop and say, "Oh, you're a dirty old man." These things, how do you get a clear-cut line in that? I mean, he's a
clear-cut line.
And see, and you bring up an excellent point, because I think for so long, men have been able to get away with, oh, he's just a dirty old man, right? And so men have been demonstrating this type of behavior forever, and females, women have been told, oh, he's a dirty old man, he doesn't mean any harm, and so men were able to get away with that. But now again, we live in this hypersensitive climate, and men are no longer able to get away with those things. Women, to your credit, women are taking back their power. We're living in a re-revolution where women are taking back their power, and they're saying, nah, this isn't okay, this isn't acceptable behavior. Treat me as you would want to be treated. You want to be treated with dignity, treat me with dignity.
But you gotta admit, there are some women that are just taking advantage of this whole time, this situation. I mean, I don't think that everybody, I'm not saying that they're not legitimate claims. I'm just saying, I think some of them, like you said, are just tweeting. It's just to be able to say, me too, I was one of them too. Not necessarily. And these people are losing careers. They're being fired. I mean, like, this is the done deal. Ben Affleck, which we'll get into the list. We're going to start getting to the other people who have been accused. But Ben Affleck spoke out against Harvey Weinstein, and as soon as he went out there, it was like, oh, I know you ain't talking.
Exactly.
You know, and then he got in trouble for some advances from years ago. And that's why I said, just go to work.
Just shut up.
Put your head.
Everybody just shut up.
Don't say nothing. We got a call? Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, fam. How y'all doing?
Hey.
How you doing?
Hey. Hi, hey, Keith. How about you, cuz, for this platform right here? What's up, Maurice?
What's going on, family?
Hey, man, you know, I'm good. I'm blessed now, man. Hey, it's something about that situation, because you know something that's going on, though. People even go through that in their family. And some females in their family feel as though they can't talk up because, you know why? It's been happening in our family so long that people indulge in the church thing. I don't want to go on the church thing too much, but people allow that to happen in their families, you know. Like, I ain't gonna say it'd be funny. In my family, it happened a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when you look at it, like, you got elders that's sitting up there, and you got this young lady, and she's trying to, it's hard for her to tell you because how much they see that you look up to that individual. And it seems like they letting you down. And then, you know, because you got to go into it, that's a, how can I say, that's an inside thing. It grows like a virus. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you got some guys that's out here, you know, their power, as far as like having money, having things that people want. And it's crazy how some of these females will wait all these years later to say something when a man in power, when initially, if someone touched my child, and I know that they probably in fear, and if you have a relationship with your child, that's the first part. That's why they say start with family, start with how you raise your folk. If my child told me someone touched him, I'm going to have to investigate it. But I swear to goodness, if someone touched my child, we're going to have a difficulty right there.
Yeah, I understand. You're absolutely right about that one.
And like I said, sometimes it starts with family. It starts in church. A lot of you not. Like, you know, church I came up in. I ain't see family touch family, but I heard, you know, when your cousins will tell you, but your cousins inform you not to tell your uncle, or because, you know, like my father sold drugs, but my other uncles and it was in church. Mm-hmm. So that's like if you tell my father that someone touched his child, and my family people that's in church, man, you got a problem, because the family people in church ain't gonna tell them. But once I get back to my father, he ain't trying to hear none of that.
Right. Well, because all of this is about people in a position of power, and people with that type of power over you. It's not that easy to just tell, like it's a neighbor or a friend or something like that. They got so much hold, I guess, over you that it becomes a bit difficult to tell the truth.
True.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
That's true.
Thank you for calling in, cuz. Appreciate it. Thank you for supporting.
I'm gonna still be looking at it.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Come on, we gotta support each other. That's the only way we're gonna come up. You gotta address certain things. Everything that we get addressed that impact our community, let's address it and get it out there and support one another.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
I love all y'all. Y'all take it easy, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Nicole, we good? Or okay. Right. Well, we are dealing right now with media, but dealing with men in position, men of power, it goes across the spectrum. It's not just media. As you can see, Harvey Weinstein was behind the scenes.
Right.
He was the producer and writing all that. Then you got Ben Affleck. He's a director,
director. Yeah.
Right. Former president. There's people in here. There's a chef that's in here. There is Kevin Spacey, another actor. We didn't get into him yet. And that hurt me. Kevin Spacey hurt me a little bit. I ain't even gonna lie to you, because I like House of Cards and Kevin Spacey. I really do. But you don't get ready to pull him, because you pull him, you pull the show.
Well, they're looking to do a spinoff now. They're trying to figure out how they can do a spinoff around the wife. I forgot her name, but
Claire. I don't know her real. I'm sorry.
I don't watch TV.
But just speaking of that, and so one of the stories I wrote down. So there's this guy named Lockhart Steele, and he was the editorial director for Vox VOX Media, right? And he was fired, and the claim was engaging in conduct that is inconsistent with Vox core values. Well, here's the backstory to it. So a former employee accused multiple co-workers of sexual misconduct. She did this in a blog, right? She detailed one particular incident involving, I quote, one of the company's VPs, while riding in the backseat of a cab with other co-workers, the accuser did not mention Vox or any co-workers by name in the blog post, right? But she had got fired. So after getting fired a month later, I quote, due to lack of productivity, she then reported what happened with the unnamed VP, but later learned that his punishment, I quote, his punishment was being told he could not drink at corporate events any longer. That was his punishment, right? He was told he couldn't drink at corporate events.
Wait a minute, this was after, right? Because how did they know who he was?
She reported.
After the fact, she reported it later.
But she never, right. But she still never gave names. So I guess they did investigation, right?
Okay.
Right, and so Vox has, and so as a result of her allegations, Vox has hired a law firm to look into the accusations, and she's met with, the accuser has met with the investigators. So I got this story from CNN. It was reported in CNN in November 1st, right? And the title of the story was called "The Incomplete List of Powerful Men Accused of Sexual Harassment After Harvey Weinstein." You know, and so I thought that this was a fascinating story because you have this woman who did not report it until after she was let go, right? She was terminated due to lack of productivity. So it's now a questionable case. Is it legitimate or is it retaliation?
Right. Well, I'll say this, because I was the victim of sexual harassment in the workplace. I didn't file a claim because I didn't have enough evidence in my head. I didn't have any proof, and it would have been my word against his. I didn't file a claim. But had I gotten fired because I didn't respond the way that he wanted me to, then I would have definitely filed a claim. So I can understand why she would now say something after being terminated, because if the spotlight now is on sexual harassment and sexual assault, and I know that I sexually assaulted or sexually harassed you, I need to get rid of you quickly before my name come up. And so now the question is it retaliation or is it true? So now she's questioned.
Right.
Now that you say that, that kind of makes sense to why everybody is waiting, because you said they're using tweets and like you said, social media. They don't necessarily have any evidence for these things either, but they're unified with their stories. So I may not have it and you may not, but if we come together and say it all together, then it makes it worth listening to versus me coming along and just saying this person did this to me. That's why I kudos to, I've never pronounced her name right, Nikita, the girl from
Lapita.
Yeah, her. Beautiful. But she told her story alone. Now I'm quite sure there were other allegations out there, but it didn't get that type of coverage. She told her story, not trying to throw him under the bus. She told her story in a interview, in a was a magazine article. So it wasn't that she it's still media, but she didn't take to the news to throw this man under the bus.
And the irony of that though is he didn't say anything against any of his other accusers, but he commented about her, which was very interesting, because you had all these other women who came out and said that this guy sexually harassed me, this guy did all these horrible things, and he kept shut. He never said anything. But Lapita, he commented on Lapita saying you're basically calling her a liar.
Why do you think her? I really want to know.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, I mean, I think that, you know, and people say, well, why do you, you know, and I've heard this before to my face. Like, why do you people always inject race into everything? Yeah, I seriously. And I appreciated the fact that this person felt comfortable enough to say you people to me in my face versus behind my back. Right. So I gave them major kudos for that, right? And then I dissected why us people inject race into certain matters, because race plays a part. Right. You know, why is it that why is it that Weinstein didn't call out these other women but felt comfortable enough to call out Lapita?
Right. Because it's easier for people to think that she was telling a lie. And if I can discredit her, then I can discredit them all, you think? I mean, it's a question. I tell you what, it backfired on him. Yeah. It backfired on him. So he chose to go for the who he thought was the weaker or the damsel, but it didn't work in his favor. Because that's what I'm saying. You have a group of people now. It took, I mean, not that she needed any validation, but when other people started to come out and say me too, because I think that's where that was a hashtag me too. Was that about sexual? Was that about rape or assault? Because but either way,
it's all
together. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, the Me Too movement, where again going back to social media is a game changer, and it keeps evolving. I mean, since the late 90s, early 2000s, social media, the internet was a game changer. It changed music, it changed movies, it changed media, and now it's reinventing itself in terms of social activism, right? So it was a corporate platform in the late 90s, early 2000s. But now people have taken to social media for social justice, right? And so that's what you're seeing, because you have phones that have camera and have video capability, and then with Facebook you can go live now, and you know, and all these other things. And so like social justice is what people using social media for. And so that hashtag Me Too, you know, you don't have to say anything other than hashtag METOO, and people get it. And so folks who didn't feel comfortable enough to say I was molested, I was raped, I was assaulted, this is what happened to me, they don't have to. They just put hashtag METOO, and people get it instantly. So again, it's a game changer.
Okay. There's a list we started already with some of the people that were on the list that I didn't know were in the news for harassment. We got into Spacey, but I want to get into the allegations for him, because it's not just about it being sexual harassment. It's about the fact that it was a minor who made these claims against him.
And that was assault.
And it was assault, absolutely. Anthony Rapp, R-A-P-P, allegedly said that Spacey made sexual advances towards him at the age of 14. He took him into a bedroom and picked him up like a bride, fondled him. Spacey didn't remember the incident, but he apologized. And at the same time, it's when around the time that he had came out as being gay. So I'm not sure the way that it read when I got this, if he came out as being gay with this situation, or he did. It was with this. Okay. So, because at first, when I first read it, when the guy first came out, it seemed like they were saying that the young man used Spacey coming out as being gay in his book, and then made this allegation against him. That's not the case.
No.
Okay.
And it's I read a blog where a gay advocate said Kevin Spacey has just made it uncool to come out, and because you know this young man made this allegation, and then immediately after he made the allegation and it started trending, then Kevin Spacey came out as being a same gender loving person. That's
so
the
he
term
wanted,
now.
in your opinion, do you think he wanted to use the LGBT community
Absolutely.
to help
And
push him in this?
Wanda Sykes again tweeting, right? So Wanda Sykes tweets, no, you do not get, and I quote, this is her in her tweet, no, you do not get to hide under the rainbow banner for sexual assault.
Absolutely, I agree. And I told you I actually like Spacey, so that disappointed me. But when he said, and it kind of, you know, that hit close to home because I've had my own histories with molestation and abuse and so forth. I really despise the whole I don't remember excuse.
Right.
I do understand that if it was not a traumatic experience for you, that it's difficult sometimes because you want to put it out of your mind. You did something wrong. Who wants to remember, doing something wrong? But I refuse to believe that you don't remember an entire incident.
It doesn't even.
I believe that he don't remember.
Why?
I think that they do so much, and they use drugs like they be high. And then so they do so many things to so many people that I believe that he probably didn't remember, and that's just why he fessed up to it. Like, I don't remember it, but he remember that he did some wild and crazy things, and that's what he know that he did stuff like that. So
I can't. That's why I'm saying I made clear that I noted that I have my own issues with that. So I could be looking at it from one view. I'll take that but when I hear that, immediately I become defensive because I don't. To me, it is such an easy cop out to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just don't remember that."
Technically, though, it's not really a cop out. What it's saying is, I'm not going to admit to doing it, but I'm not going to deny doing it either.
But he apologized.
Exactly. But by saying I don't remember, there's things that you can accuse me of that I'm going to tell you. Oh no, I know I ain't do that. High. Drunk, and they're like, I know I didn't do that. It's like, but they talking, I know I didn't do that. But if there's a slight possibility that I might have done that, then the I don't remember kind of
he was
come
26.
into play.
He was 26 supposedly at the time. The young man was 14.
Right.
I think.
But that's the playbook, though. That's if you follow the trend for all of the accusees, right? That's the trend. The trend is I don't recall, I don't remember. However, I apologize for any pain and suffering that I've caused. I may have caused, right? And so that's the reoccurring playbook, the reoccurring thing in the playbook. So they're all studying from the same playbook, right? So
that playbook is about to have everybody out of a job because it looked like to me.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Right.
Because when you really look into this pedophilia and Hollywood situation, it's like, and Corey Haim has been talking about it for years and years, and nobody really paid him any attention. But now that it's more people, and like I think the times, the sensitive times that we have enhanced this stuff, and we've made people feel comfortable with coming out and talking about it. But this stuff has been going on for years. It's almost like a
rite of passage.
Like you had to do these things.
You want to be going, or you want to go to some of your lists, or you want me to?
Okay, so I mean, we can go.
Right. Names, or we
just we got to come now. Okay, listen. When we come back, we're gonna get into some more of these people that I was shocked to see. There's just so many. We're gonna just give you the name and the accusation, and then some of them had some crazy stories. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yeah, this the man that holds it down. Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
I'm in a relationship. My girl happens to be long distance. So with that being said,
I beat my thing like it owes me.
Time for flashback.
Yeah, this the man that holds it down. Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
So yeah, people that gravitate towards the simple fact that they just sit around and look at your comments and look at what you post on Facebook or social media for that matter, and they see the videos and they see the messages and they quickly assume that it's about them. But people understand this, that there are 50 billion more people in this world other than your goddamn self. So it's not everybody is going to be talking about you. And I know quite few people, and I said that to the person. I said, I just don't know you.
Right.
I know a lot of other people. I love music.
Hey everybody, this is your girl, the magical Anissa Maureen. Make sure you tune in to the Charm City Direct Radio Show every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
I don't like stuff in my mouth. It's after what you was talking about.
It's in this commercial closing.
No, seriously, I don't. I'm a germaphobe. Everything on your body is dirty.
Everything.
So I'm damn sure I ain't gonna put it in my mouth. That's probably why I'm single. Thank you.
Is there a lies button?
Somebody slapped me on my face with one before. I had to get up and go wash my face. That was done. I said, how dare you? You filthy ass animal. Get the hell out of my house. It was a problem. Because it's like, clearly, you don't remember when I met you, I checked your teeth to make sure you had them all? Because that's a problem for me, too, your dental hygiene. Because if you're missing a tooth in the front, that means you don't brush your teeth at all. I'm sorry. And I know Jabril just had that tooth missing and all, but if I would have met him on the road and, he would have been trying to, out him and what's going on? At least you could have did was break a Tic Tac in half and put it up there when you met me. You just can't be coming to me with no sharp teeth. It's not okay.
Check out the Talk Lately show every Tuesday nights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Men who are in positions of power, media, and so forth, movies, films, directors, and so forth, that have been accused of either sexual harassment or assault, some rape. We talked about Kevin Spacey. That's the first person outside of Weinstein that we talked about on this list. And Maurice, you said you had somebody?
There's several. From you have Andy Dick, who's a comedian / actor. He was really popular in the 90s for some of the TV shows that he played on, and he was accused of groping people's genitals, not just because he came out a long time ago as being bisexual, and so it was accused of groping people's genitals, unwanted kissing, licking, and sexual propositions of at least 4 members of the production on the set of an independent feature film, Raising Buchanan. So you have him, you have Dustin Hoffman, which I think surprised a lot of people, and Dustin Hoffman was accused of sexual harassment by Anna Graham Hunter in an article published by the Hollywood Reporter on November 1st, Hunter alleges that Dustin Hoffman groped her and talked about sex in front of her while she was 17 years old. She was a 17-year-old intern on the set of his 1985 TV movie adaptation of Death of a Salesman. Hoffman apologized in a statement, saying, "I have the utmost respect for women and feel terrible that anything I might have done, could have put her in an uncomfortable situation. It is not reflective of who I am," end quote.
So again, with the might have, could have, did I, should I don't remember. Was it good for you type of thing. Right, what? I mean, he could have, because he's, I don't know how old Dustin Hoffman is now.
He's 80.
80? Really?
Yes.
But this happened in 85. This happened in 85, so. James Toback. And I'm gonna tell you why this stood out to me. He's on your list too. Mm-hmm. He's a screenwriter and a director, accused by multiple women of sexual harassment. He supposedly lured these women into a hotel room after telling them that it was an interview or a audition, and it turned out to be something sexual. Now he denies the claim, but listen, he denies the claim and stated that throughout those years that the women are talking about, he had been battling with diabetes, so he was unable to perform sexual acts. Some women state that he asked them to like rub up on them and stuff like that. So it wasn't like rape or penetration, but it was still assault, fondling and assault, because he did touch. But I'm saying, so your excuse is because you had diabetes and you couldn't, I guess, get it up. That's why you did not sexually harass or assault these women. That's his excuse. Anywho, and it says over 300 women.
Over 300 women have contacted the LA Times describing this similar encounter.
Wow.
That's crazy. Well, I have Oliver Stone.
Really?
Yes, but see, Oliver Stone's accusations could possibly be like that bandwagon stuff. So, a model actress tweeted after the Harvey allegations came out. She tweeted and was like, yes, she remember she was at a party and Oliver Stone walked by her and kind of pinched her nipple on the walk by and said, "2 of a kind."
I'm sorry.
So that happened.
Sorry, ma'am.
It was like a party or something, and he walked by and pinched her nipple. Was like, "Ooh, 2 of a kind," and kept walking. But after that, then another model said that they had a meeting, and the follow-up meeting he sent her flowers and she felt weird.
So is that sexual harassment to send flowers?
Yeah, if it's unwanted. So yeah, if I send either one of you or both of you, if I sent you flowers and you made it perfectly clear to me that my advance to you is unwanted. If I send you flowers, that's harassment.
But harassment
harassment has to be something that has happened before. The first instance isn't harassment. Harassment becomes harassment after it's consistent.
So,
which is why your son couldn't be charged, because it wasn't harassment. Okay. It was an incident.
So, Keisha, I think we should go out. Maurice,
she said yeah, so y'all can go.
Maurice, thank you. I'm flattered, but right now, I'm not looking to get into a relationship.
Okay.
I send you a bouquet of flowers, saying you should reconsider. That's harassment.
That is pursuing.
Right.
That's harassment. That is harassment.
I'm sorry, guys. Listen. Just because I said no, let me say this.
Yeah, you might want to fix that, because they will pull this clip. Monty will be in court. Testified on the behalf of being exposed.
There is nothing wrong with chivalry. Okay?
Yeah.
It is not dead, and we are not trying to kill it with these sexual harassment accusations. So, yeah.
Okay, my Facebook is frozen. We're going to go to this next commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue with this list. Stay tuned.
Just a Bit Outside radio show.
There is one glaring stat that I read about while watching the games over the weekend. New York Yankees went 22 straight innings with at least one strikeout.
Really?
That's a major league record for the postseason.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting statistic.
It is, you know, and then when you think about it, it's like, okay, you know, that, to me, that's like a big reason why, you know, they're losing right now.
Thank you very much.
Because they had nothing else to do.
So it was like, imagine that your late husband was actually your father. I can't imagine that because that's disgusting.
Very much so.
And then I would have to clean my basement because that's where my actual father resides right now. So, okay. The 60-year-old woman learned the truth about her husband, Percy, 6 years after he passed away.
Not Percy, though. Percy doesn't sound like that name.
Percy just sounds like a feminine boy.
Really?
Yeah.
But nobody told you at no point.
Like Percy. Look at Percy over there with his purse.
His name
Percy always switching.
And you just keep laughing at him.
That's a joke. What do you call it? What's the gay boy's name?
Percy.
Percy.
What are you doing, Percy? I don't even know what to say about this one. And I'm the one that said it. Oh my gosh, we're here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. The conversations can get deep. They can get out of this world. But we do them. BeExposedRadio.com. Talk Lately, the radio show. I know the weight is killing you. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. Our topic tonight is the spirit of Thanksgiving. And I have in the studio with me my husband, Titus James. Woo!
Titus.
Hello.
Titus James. Titus.
We up here.
This man.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. Anybody gonna say anything about 45?
You. We was waiting on you.
Oh, I don't know what his accusations are though.
Well, we know that he.
It's all right to grab him in the pee.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
We are under this leadership. You can't get mad at these people.
So, I mean, and that's the thing.
Long before 45 got in office.
They've been doing it, but because 45 is in office and everybody downplayed it with 45, the women are now saying, no, we've had enough. And it's time for us to step up and say what it is.
But it ain't just women. These are men.
I mean, well, men and women.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that.
But I want to clear up because I don't want to, this whole if a man pursues you and you say no or I'm not interested, because sometimes I know a lot of people who want to be chased, who want the pursuit.
I ain't chasing nobody. You tell me no, that's it. It's
Come
over.
on.
Finito.
So if you say, hey, let's go out, and I say I'm not really looking to date right now.
Bye.
Oh, then you want the one anyway, because I need
I don't
somebody
listen,
that know what they want. And
this is not the man who just came in here with cupcakes and cake last week. I don't believe that. I don't believe
Listen,
that.
I gotta be able to pay my rent.
Okay.
And I'm gonna share with you all, right? I've been accused of harassment. So and I'm gonna tell you something. It is not fun. I had two women. Right now, I was working for this company. I've been with the company at this point. I've been with them for nearly 7 years. Mm-hmm. Perfect performance, just nothing, right? And folks love me. And in a matter of a day, in a matter of a month, I had one woman go to someone and say that I asked her for a massage, which was totally a lie. I had another woman who said that I made her feel inferior because
that's sexual harassment too.
It's I'm trying to tell you. I had a woman make the allegation that I made her feel inferior and I belittled her, and I was having a conversation. So I'm having a conversation with you, and at least you hear the conversation, you present for the conversation, and so you embody the conversation, my tone towards Keish, and guess what? So now I gotta defend myself in human resources. I'm telling you, it was not a game. Because I had people who used to good morning, Maurice, smile, to now they would see me in cut and run after knowing me for 6.5 years. It is not a game. So like, there's two sides. Just because a person makes an allegation does not make it true, and that process is hell, because even when you're vindicated, people still gonna see you in a negative light. Yeah, they say he ain't do it, but I'm sure he did something. Cause why else would they say that about him? So
because people don't understand how easily it is to accuse somebody of sexual or misinterpreting, which is crazy. And I wrote that down when you was talking, because now let me be clear. I haven't been in a situation that I've seen this up close in person. For what I am hearing, and I guess based on what understanding of how rape victims and the process goes to prove rape, it seems almost impossible, especially date rape.
It is.
To prove your case.
It is.
So you're telling me that you got to pull out the red carpet and all the evidence in the world to prove that you was raped or date raped, but you can easily put on a man's transcript that he was accused of sexual harassment by just your interpretation alone.
Yep.
Without anybody to validate, back up, confirm your story, he did it.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it goes just, I mean, that's just, again, the climate that we live in, the culture that we live in a sense, like anybody could be sued for anything, right? You can sue someone for anything. It doesn't mean you're going to win, but you can sue for anything.
Yeah, well, the sexual harassment claims, if I go to HR and file a claim against someone for sexually harassing me and the HR department does nothing, I can sue my company for ignoring my claim. That's why there has to be steps. Now, it's not always a termination because, again, it's my word against theirs. If I can prove that there was an incentive or I was trapped in, or it was some type of endangerment or some type of setup, somebody saw or somebody heard, that's different from my word against his. But because I made that claim, it has to be documented.
Wow. I mean, I can understand documenting it under your name because you made a claim, but to put that under somebody else,
it has to be under his, because if it happens again to you, he might not come back to me.
Oh, well,
but if he comes to you now, it's documented that okay, he has 3 different women, 3 different cases where he's been accused of saying something inappropriate. Maybe he really is saying something inappropriate. Now, if it's one isolated case, okay, she okay, but I mean, let's be honest. I call everybody Love. Hey, Love, how you doing, Love? Hey, not Love Dawn, but I call everybody Love. I literally have to catch myself because it can be misinterpreted.
Absolutely.
And I agree, because like I said, I play a lot, and that you sometimes want to get me in trouble because I don't really be knowing how far it is, but it's not intentional, and it seems to be more accepted with women than it is with men. Women tend to be, because you just assume that a man liked that type of attention, and it's okay.
But that's why it's sexual harassment, because if you're doing it, I call everybody, men and women, everybody Love. But if he perceives it as in advance, then technically it could be considered sexual harassment. Every time I see her, she call me Love. I'm not her. I'm not her man. I have a woman that could be perceived as sexual harassment.
Wow.
Or somebody else could perceive it.
When they listen to it,
he may keep his mouth shut. You know, he may be flattered, you know, by it, but then somebody else see it, and if she likes him, you know, she brings the claim that she's keep harassing him because she keeps calling him love.
Or it makes me uncomfortable to hear them talk that way.
Absolutely.
Like me and you can have a conversation about something. We went to the strip club or whatever, and we saw this, and we having a conversation. If he hear it, we can get charged for sexual harassment.
Wow.
I think you got some comments.
Yeah, sorry.
I see Rachel.
Oh, she said so. Kaya commented.
Oh, that's on you. I don't see it.
Kaya said, "I don't care how much of an asset you are to a company. Once you've been accused of those type of allegations, you've now become a liability."
Wow.
Pretty much.
Yep. Because if stuff doesn't happen properly, the employees can sue the company. They're not going to sue him.
They're liable.
Right.
They're going to sue the company.
Well, you can see that with people being just walking off. These people are being literally fired. There was a guy, he was, I think I wrote him down, Mark Halperin, political director of ABC News, apologizes and admits that he did have personal relationships with some of these women who accused him of sexual harassment. And he understands how that probably should not have taken place in the workplace. But this is what you were saying. They had broken up. And he was trying to get back in a relationship with them.
Or not necessarily get back in a relationship, but just still have encounters.
Right. Well, but that's what I think is unfair. And I think that, first of all, I think if you're going to be in some sort of relationship, and most companies do make you sign something now that you're in a relationship. Now, maybe you should do the same thing to get out of a relationship. And maybe it should be a clause of no talking at all during work. And if you want to get back together, do it. Because you heard his list. And we're going to probably say it again before the end of the show so that don't nobody go to jail. Go to work. Don't say nothing. Don't look her way. Don't start too long. People have febrile seizures. Sometimes, I'm serious. I'm serious about my collar have them all the time, and it be stirring up. Like, and that's, let me tell you why that scared me. Because I look through people so much, and they swear I'm looking at them, sir. I'm not looking at you. I can't control what my eyes gonna have at the time, so I'm gonna go to jail for something I can't control. That's unfair.
You're not gonna go to jail for it.
I'm serious. That's unfair.
But why can't we just open our mouths? Like, I don't understand why we're so we can go on social media and blast stuff, but I can't tell you. I don't like how you said that to me. Why don't say that like
because
that?
Because these are men in a position of power.
I don't care.
And see, and that's the piece right there. When you are in an authoritative role, right? So now you open yourself up to abuse of power, right? So that's where it comes in. It gets very sticky because if I have influence over you, right? So like a lot of these people on this list are influential actors / directors / producers, and so they can, with a phone call, like Weinstein, right? With a phone call, he can kill your career, or he can make your career. Right, and so in that aspect, now you're talking about abuse of power.
But we don't have to be victims. I was propositioned by a vice president in my company. A vice president. I dropped him off we left the event. I dropped him off at this hotel. He was on his way to the airport. Dropped him off at that hotel. He invited me up. Whole conversation in the car, we were talking about this quote-unquote promotion. Get to the hotel, come inside so we can finish up this conversation. No. I think you might want to come inside so we can finish this conversation if you want this promotion. I had a choice. I could have went inside. I could have been passive and said, no, I think I'm not. Or I could have said what I said. I think you might want to get out of my car and go ahead inside. And we will act like this conversation didn't happen.
Or He could have scooped you up like Kevin Spacey did, the boy.
But
took you in a hotel.
What I'm saying is, what happens is, and I'm not placing blame back on the victims. What I'm saying is, we allow ourselves to be victims too much. We assign power, and we allow people to operate with this quote unquote power that they really don't have. They might have the authority to terminate.
I can tell you, for me, and I'm gonna be honest, because is as direct or however people perceive me to being this, very straightforward, whatever female. I can tell you that it's in those situations that I don't make the best decisions, because it's like I'm used to, and I think, as Rico said, our upbringing, we're used to when a person in position tells you to move, you move. Right. And if your boss say to do, and you don't particularly think you should do it, right, you still kind of with that being said, I know that it would not have went but so far, unless physically I couldn't defend myself. But I probably would have done what he said, only because of his position over me. And you're doubting it, but you're doubting it as you're walking. It's like, should I be doing this or should I not? I know this probably don't seem right, but what if he really just want to talk about this? Is me. And while I'm making a decision, I'm walking into the room. So it's hard. I get it. I agree. Like, you made a decision right then, you knew this was too far and you stopped it, and you had a right to do that. But coming from a person knowing myself, I probably would have been like, okay.
But that okay is a sign that there's something that you felt was uncomfortable in the situation. So at that point, you have the right to remain in control of at least yourself. I can't control whether or not he fired me or not, but I can control what I do. And I'm not going to allow you to put me in a position where I'm uncomfortable any longer. You just made me uncomfortable. I need to let you know that you made me uncomfortable, and I need to let you know that I'm expecting you to stop. But that's what we don't do in the workplace. In the workplace, we just kind of, I didn't know I could say something. Yes, you did.
Well, I mean, just keeping it to the narrative, right? So you had a lot of the actresses and actors, right, who said that, they felt like if they had spoke up earlier, because you got to remember, a lot of these actors were just getting into the business, right? And so they knew that this powerful person could make or break their career. And so, you know what? A lot of them said they chose not to work with these people like Weinstein, but at the same time, they weren't trying to put him out there because they knew that if they did, their dreams would die instantly, because he would kill their dreams.
They assumed.
Right. Because why aren't their dreams dying now? What make a difference?
Because they're well established. Yeah, they're well established.
But what we don't know is how many people put them in their place. We don't know how many people said, no, you're not going to do that to me. And continue to progress. Because I'm sure there are plenty of people.
But Lupita did that after she won that Oscar. I don't know if she would have did that before either.
But I'm sure there are plenty of people in the industry that have been propositioned, and they set the right. Look, I'm gonna set the tone here. We're not gonna do this, and have progressed. So we can't just assume that because we have this many victims that we didn't have 10 times the amount of people that they
put them in their place, but they did not put them out there. Well, they stopped it from happening.
But what I'm saying is, the problem is that we have too many people that won't say anything. So I'm gonna prey on who's not gonna say anything, which is why it becomes the child epidemic is so big, because they know that the children aren't gonna say anything,
and especially children like this young man. May joke about it, but he was a minor with Kevin Spacey, because these parents want so badly for their kids to be in the limelight that they're not going to, unless they can. It's a meal ticket like you had the Michael Jackson situation. Then they want to capitalize on it. But for the most part, they want their kids to be in the industry. We're going to take this last commercial break. I believe this is the last commercial break. When we come back, we're going to, I think
go over this list again.
Go over the list of, listen, we don't want nobody going to jail.
That's right.
So we're going to go over this list one more time to let you know what you should or should not do. And I'm going to keep my eyes closed throughout the whole commercial break so that y'all know I haven't said or stirred at anybody or did anything inappropriately. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with, you know, some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also, you know, accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. Like I've learned man, I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what I learned. That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
The pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids and when you got a wife and then you doing everything and you know you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place you, like with this radio show, you ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Yeah, make that a promo, please.
Should nobody come on this show without donating?
Yes.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on
Check out
Be
the
Exposed
snippet
Radio.
from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty when he rants about his staff.
I agree. Can you come on? I told you stop touching that button. Why is it so loud? God. Did you turn one all the way up again? Do I have to come in there? God damn her. If it was going right, I would let you do your part, but I'm sorry, but it's just not functioning the way it's supposed to be.
You're live on the air.
I told you mind your business.
Well, Monty, if I can comment on the Jennifer Holiday situation, I
know I'm live on the air. I'm sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
I know I'm live on the air. This is why this whole show is called Talk Lately. Anyway, let's get back to
every Tuesday at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Saturday 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
As busy as you are, because they're good at itemizing their time and they actually have a passion for what they do. One of the biggest lessons that I learned, I get to say this on Weird, was finding people who are not only interested in doing what you need to get done, but people who have a passion for it, because that will eliminate the idea of people just working for a paycheck.
Right.
Because when people sign up for a paycheck, we all had jobs where we slacked off, where we stole away in a little storage room.
Fell asleep.
Thank you.
I saw a meme the other day that had Bart Simpson and the little boy with the glasses. I didn't watch the show, so don't be mad at me. Don't send me no daggum messages. The little boy with the glass, Millhouse, that was his name. He's showing him a cave, and it says, when you're asked to show around the new coworker, and it says, this is where I come to cry. Cool.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
With that, finishing up that list of that crazy list of so many more people who have been accused of sexual harassment after the Weinstein, after Cosby. Now it's, can I say pandemonium? Y'all told me I shouldn't have said an epidemic. It's a mess. That's what it is. But because y'all know how we do at Sunset, so we don't want nobody to go to jail. We want everybody or get fired. And I'm saying go to jail because I'm just jumping to the extreme so you can know how serious this is.
True.
So we're going to have our good friend Mr. Maurice read this list so you know what you can and cannot do in the workplace. And just to be safe, just period, just in life, do this.
Okay.
So let's go ahead.
So, and I think for parents of teenagers and young adults, you really want to have that conversation with your young people, because I think that a lot of young people are, you know, they don't see the seriousness of certain things, and to them it's all fun and games. But you know, if you don't, you as a parent, if you don't check certain behavior at 16, and now your son or daughter are 22, and they are saying the same thing that they said at 16, and now they getting called into HR, and now they being fired, right? And they can't understand why they was just fired from their first job or their second job, and it's because you as a parent didn't check it. So, you know, we need to have these conversations. But how can men protect themselves against sexual harassment charges? 1, keep your hands to yourself. If you wouldn't want it said to your daughter, mom, sister, or aunt, don't say it to your coworker. Keep your comments to yourself.
Actually, if you back that one up, I would just say, if you wouldn't say it in front of your grandmother.
Same thing.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. They all apply. Keep your comments to yourself. Don't go there if you know she's not interested. So this is where, you know, gentlemen who are Rico Suaves, this is where you might want to, you know, you might want to double check that. You know, you might want to make sure, be very clear whether or not this person is interested, because if they're not interested and you continue to pursue, now you can be brought up on sexual harassment charges. No means no. Taste your words before you say them. So just think. That's basically what that means. Think before you speak. Don't be a slime, whatever that means. Shut your mouth and do your job. Don't touch, don't look, don't speak. Save the locker room talk for your boys, and don't do it at work. Sexist jokes too. Keep yourselves visible. And I think this is a great one. This is one that I learned through my accusations, right? Keep yourselves visible by others at all times, and stay out in the open. No private conferences without a witness.
I tell that to every male minister, pastor, deacon. Do not counsel. No, especially women. Like, don't be counseling. What you need to counsel them for by yourself.
Right.
You need a witness. Somebody need to be a witness.
Some of these, most of these sound like the stuff you hear even when you were in school.
Yeah.
You know, they even tell you sometimes if you can't, if it's that difficult, sit on your hands. You know, I mean, it sounds elementary.
Right.
But it's because it's that simple. It's that simple, but we become comfortable and
the world
we
has
forget.
been overly sexualized. Like, that's just the
true.
culture of the world now. So it's not uncommon for somebody to come next to you and put their hand on your shoulder when they talking
now you know
to
you can't do that. No touching. Now you have to say, is it okay for me to put my hand on your shoulder?
You do.
And I mean,
and ladies, please, if you are uncomfortable, let them know that you're uncomfortable.
Speak up. Open your mouth.
There's nothing wrong with saying, please don't touch me. Like, I don't really like being touched.
Right. And that way they can't say they didn't know.
And you can't, and you're not being rude, you're not being stuck up, you're not being, if you're uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable.
And can I just say this? Even if you know, because sometimes women will, out of fear of being called the B word, right? It's all, guess what? Under those circumstances, it's all right to be called the B word if you're protecting your personal space, right? So, and I think that's what it comes down to, is protecting your personal space.
Listen, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We have to, this is it. This is the end of our show. I want to thank our guest, Mr. Maurice Good, as always, for coming and supporting Sunset Soul. He'll be back because he has some awesome opportunities for Baltimore City. I believe
and Maryland, Baltimore County,
Baltimore County as well. So listen, y'all stay tuned. We will be making this announcement probably sometime next month. We will see y'all again next week. We have several topics we're going to talk about next week. You know how throughout the week you'll see me post different things, and I'll put up on it thoughts that will let you know that these are some of the topics that we'll be discussing on next week. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Wow, good night.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BX